Would you like to keep the
All right.
same order where you go first and I go second, or do you want to flop it for the films?
Let flip it. So
Okay.
you can do the 10 first.
Okay, in we go.
All
My
right.
number 10 film of the first half of the 2020s is The Deer King.
Yep.
Um, Earlier, I was talking about films that are on Netflix, which has never been the way that I typically watch anime. But it
Yep.
was in the last like couple weeks as I kind of went on a little rewatch marathon. This was one of those shows, and I when I watched it, I was like, I'm not sure this is going to make the cut, but
Hmm.
it barely did. The reason I thought that it might not make the cut is because this film is very overstuffed in kind of the
Yep.
same way that Makia was in the previous decade. But Makia,
Hmm.
I think, has a much stronger core about family that is
Hmm.
lacking in Shikano, the Deer King. Certainly, the relationship between Yuna and Van, um,
Hmm.
him being the bit like the hero of the film, and Yuna being the little girl uh, that he adopts as his daughter. That is, one of the film's strengths, but uh, the it's much more concerned, I think, with its overarching fantasy story, and I think some people have not really connected with this film because it's telling a big story about conflict between two, like rival nations and people pulling the strings behind the scenes to try to engineer conflict between them. And there's like political intrigue, and it's a lot to take in. But I found myself really admiring everything about it visually, and also
Hmm.
liking the ambition of the story.
Yep.
Um, it's it's just a great looking film, and I like fantasy. Anime is becoming you know a fantasy heavy medium again, I guess, thanks to movies like this and shows like Frieren and Dungeon Meshi, and I appreciate that, and that appreciation extended to my rewatch of this movie. And it's an adaptation of a Nahoko Uehashi novel. She also wrote Moribito and Aaron, and her academic interests are present in all three of those works. There's a doctor character in The Deer King who plays a very interesting role in the story, as there
Hmm.
was in those other two works that I mentioned. So I like that as well. So we got The Deer King kind of sneaking in at number 10 for me.
Yep. All right. I can see why it's there. So we talk about that later as
Oh,
well.
really? Okay.
Hmm. All right. My number 10 is Evangelion. Try upon the time. So
Thrice Upon a Time.
it's
So this
the
is 3.0.
3.0 plus 1.0, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
This is the final one. It's the final one.
Right, right, right.
So, as the final themes of the reviews, it recontextualized the all the previous entries, and also trying to clarify the relationship to the original series, the creator and the audiences. So, this is I just admire uh I just admire the director a lot because he, like this is his second try to the franchise. He but he still take like 10 years in order to finish this.
Yeah.
So he still have like write a blog for this one. So I just amazed of that. The film is it have like two section. The first section is so deliberately slow to portray the beauty of the humanity and the planet. The second half take a turn towards the action and before take a deep dive into the side of Shinji and Kendo. So what I like about this movies is they have like the final confrontation between Shinji and Kendo, which is like the very thing that makes Shinji so insecure, and it had never been dealt with in the original series. But as a whole, though, it's while I still prefer the original series much better because it's more about the psychological contexters, whereas here is more, like plain or action. So I would still say that this movie is more of action than, like drama, whereas I cannot say the same with the original series. But I think the message, the main message of this show is just, like this is the end of Evangelion, so it's time to move on. So all good.
Yeah, it is the end of Evangelion. Although the phrase "end of Evangelion" calls to mind the original film that
That's
followed the
true.
TV series, and that I have to say I prefer much better
Yep. Yep.
than 3.0 plus 1.0,
Yeah.
which I guess is Thrice Upon a Time. I had forgotten that that was the like subtitle, I guess, of the
This
film.
is the subtitle. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, for me, the less said about this film, the better. I don't want to get into it. But
Okay.
I think this is, you're in good company in appreciating this film. It's very, I think in general the reception was quite good. Um, I'll just leave it there.
All right. All right. You're number nine.
Number nine for me, The Concierge.
All right.
It's a short little film. I think it's like 70 minutes or so, about
Mm-hmm.
a hotel run by animals. No, well, it's the most senior staff members are human beings, but most of the employees are. No, I'm sorry, I got this all wrong. The employees are humans. The clientele are animals.
Yeah.
And in fact, that it's revealed as the film goes on that that's like the reason for the hotel's existence is to cater to and to service animals that have gone extinct in the real world. So that kind of recontextualizes a lot of what comes before in the film, and I guess what comes after. Um,
Mhm.
it gives it kind of like an ecological bent, but it's also just a fun little dramedy set at a workplace with
Mhm.
different instances of animals coming into the hotel and having different requests that they make of the main character, who is a new employee at the hotel and is going through like a trial run before she's brought on board officially. And I really, really admire this film. It's very plucky. It's got a woolly mammoth character who I who I really like. Um,
Mhm.
he's whenever I think of this film, he sticks out to me for how like even keeled and how pensive and how thoughtful his character is. He brings a lot of good qualities to the movie, and kind of contrasts with the main character who's like a bundle of nerves because she's being monitored, and she's always doing her best to try to fulfill the wishes of the animals who come into the hotel. Sometimes she succeeds, and sometimes she succeeds a little less. But the film
Mhm.
has a nice heartwarming ending, and it's very interesting visually. The character designs are little. It's not as though they look as like they come out of a picture book, but they are kind of stylized to be like kid friendly, even though this is not really a film for kids, I would say.
Mhm.
And that kind of gives a light-hearted feeling to the film, even though its subject matter is not always light. Some of the requests that some of the animals have are a little more dramatic, a little more serious.
Mhm.
Um, I'd say it's a film that has a very deft touch. It's got a short run time. It kind of handles each of the animals' requests quickly, so they can move on to the next one. But it's consistent at the same time in the way that
Mhm.
everything is filtered through its main character and her earnestness and her good attitude overall. It's a pleasant watch, fun film.
Yep. Yep. All right. Now to my number nine, and it's the one that Wooper that recommend me to watch because it's available, and it's the Color Within.
Okay.
So it's a new film from Naoko Yamada, and you can never group her out. I Her series Heike Monogatari just missed my top 10, so I'm glad to include this into into my top 10 movies. Uh, so it's the color within is a uh, beautiful told story about a teenager dealing with their insecurity and struggle. So one of them can see the colors of the other characters. I do feel that the that part isn't really integrated into the movies because we don't see that very often. But we do see they forming a music band kind of out of nowhere. But like we do have like a really good great musical performances into these.
Hmm.
Uh, at the end, and the animation is just so great. It's just so very very expressive, very very lively. All the motion are just captured perfectly, and I kind of like the way that the setting is in the chapel as well. So it it just feels different. And as me who uh, at one time I grow up uh, not in a chapel, but like I spend half of the day study in the same kind of chapel, even though that I'm not Christians. It's kind of like remind me of my old childhood as well. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Was that when you were
it's
in Vietnam?
yeah. But when I was in Vietnam, when I was study primary school, so the way we do it, we study I study in the school in the primary school in uh one morning in the morning, and then in the afternoon I would stay in the chapel just next to it, and they kind of like teach you to do the homework, and like we have break where they told this where they would tell the story of Christ and all the Bible things,
Right.
and I get to learn how to play piano as well in
Hmm.
there,
Oh, that's cool.
and yeah I yeah so it's a really really yeah it's just very interesting, yeah.
Reminded you of that. Huh.
Mm, a lot,
Nice. All
yeah.
right. Kimi no Iro. The color. Is it the color within? The colors within? I can't
The
remember.
colors with it,
Colors
the
within. Okay.
colors with it.
All right. Good pick. Yeah,
All right,
the musical sequences were something else, man. The concert at
yeah,
the
I
end
agree.
was definitely elevates the
they
film.
they didn't skip on that either. They go for the whole
Yeah, for
performances.
sure. Three full performances.
Yep.
All right.
Nice.
My number 8 is
Yep.
Ongaku.
Oh, all right.
Um, the one man production they call it, although I'm sure it wasn't just
The
the
one man.
director who was involved in the animation. I'm sure other hands touched it. But
I think there was a team of like 7 or 8 people,
okay.
staff in there. Yep.
When this film came out, it was touted as like all him. And certainly,
Yep.
if you subscribe to auteur theory, you can see that it one person's vision really shapes the film. And he now has like two other films in development. So
Hmm. Hmm.
excited to see those. But as for Ongaku, it's I wanted a comedy on my list, and Ongaku is that
Hmm.
comedy. I mean, The Concierge sort of qualifies. Um, Scrolling through, I've got one or two other films that have comedic elements, but
Right.
Ongaku is like a straight up comedy, and it's kind of it's a little bit absurd about it,
Yep.
or perhaps I should say like deadpan.
Mm-hmm.
The main character plays a recorder through his nostrils while sprinting to a music festival in the film's third act,
Yep.
and that was pretty wild.
Yep.
um, I really do like the kind of indie spirit that the film carries with it. Not only
Mm.
in its production, which is rather simple and flat, but like in terms of the art style, but also the central character and his decision to form a band. Speaking of bands, this film also has a band. It's three guys who all decide to form one on a whim,
Mm.
and the music they play is extremely rudimentary, but it still inspires everyone who hears it. Like it contains the primal soul of rock and roll. and
Mhm.
the like the for example the folk music club or the folk music band that hears them play is radically transformed by that experience, and one of them decides to become a hippie with super long blonde hair, and he becomes like a guitar god on the level of Jimi Hendrix. Um, you see him perform during that music festival at the end as well. It's I don't know what the film is really about. It's I think it's about just doing whatever you want. I think that may be the message that the film has.
I,
Like the main character, he forms a band just because he feels like it, and midway through the film he gets bored with the band and decides to quit because he doesn't want to do it anymore. But then at the end he decides that he does, after all, he does want to play. So he decides to act on that whim and goes and plays at the festival.
yeah,
And the music. This is another film where the musical performances are amazing.
yeah.
Uh, they're very strange. They're not kind of a traditional concert in the way that Kimi no Ito has. Its concert is more straightforward. Ongaku's is like a weird 15-minute musical freak out. But I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's just you know it's just a very weird film. I like how silly and irreverent and strange it is. And the long pauses as well before the main character,
mm,
whose name I can't remember. I think it's Kenji. Kenji. Um,
yeah.
he takes a long break before, like if people address him, before he responds, he'll pause for like 15 or 20 seconds, and the film will just come to a standstill. I don't know why he does that, uh, but it makes whatever he says afterwards way funnier. So
Yeah.
it's a film. It's a film that I can't really distill the essence of exactly. I don't know why it appeals to me so much, but
Yeah,
I've had fun rewatching it. So here it is at number 8.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. My number eight is the Deer King.
Okay.
So just one name, Nahuko Uehashi. She's responsible for many of the shows that you mentioned before. Uh, One of them we about to maybe watch for our classic shows.
Yeah, I think so.
So I just love the setting that she set up, and this is also true in this film. The setting here is just like very provocative. You can learn a lot. So I think this show actually would benefit from like reading the book more than like in the what in the movies, because like you said it is also over stuff. They try
Mm.
to cram a lot of things into the film, in the point of it become inconsistent at times. It's still deal with many serious themes, and I like a lot from that. So this is the show that I think would benefit from like rewatching it or even reading the book, just to get more out of the context of the world and of the characters. So yeah, this yep, I still pretty much like thinking of this in a good term.
All right. Interesting that we both have the Deer King.
Yeah.
It's. I'm sorry, I was adjusting my chair. It's not. I think a lot of people think of this as like Princess Mononoke light. They watch this and they
Nah.
think, oh, clearly Ghibli inspired, which it is, but not on
Uh,
the same level. So they kind of dismiss it.
yeah.
Um, I can understand that perception of the movie, but I guess I just don't share it.
Yeah. 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 Yes and no,
Yeah, it's good. It's a nice fantasy film. It's got a nice father daughter relationship and lots of good scenery.
Hmm, hmm.
Okay, number 7. Um, for me, Inu-Oh.
Yep. All right.
So this is a a 14th century uh, Japanese. I guess it's not medieval. What is it? I don't know what you would call it. What you would call the time period exactly. But it's a rock
Uh,
opera
yep.
uh, using the biwa,
Yep.
and it's just it's such a strange. idea for a series. But earlier when I was talking about how many of the films on my list were inspired by books or based on books, Inu-Oh
I see. I see.
is based on or inspired by a book.
Yep.
Um, I don't know if it's a strict adaptation of it, but it's this is a film with a lot to say. I think in the way that, like, for example, Dead Dead Demon has a ton to say about like immigration and artificial intelligence and um, I don't know, a bunch of other topics that I are not coming to me right now. Inu-Oh also had there are a lot of themes here that the film is covering. I don't think it synthesizes all of them perfectly, but there's commentary on artistic freedom, the power
Hmm.
held by people's names, because it's difficult for
Yep.
like spirits to find people if they change their name. And you
Yep.
see towards the end of the film, right before one of the characters' deaths, he he declares his name out loud, and it's the name that he had in childhood, rather than either of the two names that he took on later in his life. And I don't totally know why that decision was made, but it fascinated me. There's
Hmm.
also like commentary on the politicization of art and of music, and of tradition versus innovation in storytelling. And there's also lots of cool moments where the main characters, the way that they see, because one of them is mostly blind, and the other one sees through holes in his mask that he wears
Yep.
to like hide his appearance because it's like inhuman.
Hmm.
Um, there are lots of POV shots from the two characters where like
Hmm.
different colors and textures are used to represent the way that they see, which it's just really creative. Um, and it's just a really ambitious movie with, once again, crazy musical performances. Really a really lengthy one as well. There's kind of like a back-to-back performance by Tomoadi's troupe that he forms in order to tell these new stories that Inu-Oh um, has access to, because the spirits of the Heike are like surround him. Uh,
Hmm.
just a really, it's just crazy ambitious and fun to watch because of the music and the history of it as well. It being set in the
Hmm.
past and having direct references to the tale of the Heike. Uh,
Hmm.
cool stuff. Number seven, Inu-Oh.
Yep. All right. Now to my number seven, and I would definitely say that it will be on further on your list. Is Blue Giant.
Okay.
Uh, it's the energy, man. It's I think it's the best part of the movie. Is also the most important part, which is the jazz music, because it's just very energetic and passionate, and it just stand out, like, oh, whenever they doing the performances, we, like, get stuck into it. And I think you have quite knowledge in jazz as well, right? So
A little bit.
you could say that, yeah, this is good stuff, right? I have no idea about jazz, and I can still listen to it, like, on end. So uh the show is kind of like a story about these people who, like, who forming a band. So it's just like, I think it's like the very beginning of, like, the whole manga, where they this is like the first section where they get into the band. They just doing what they like, and, like, at the end they part ways. But and the beginning of, like, one that would be one of, like, the most iconic Japanese chess players in the world, maybe in the future. We won't know of that about that, but all we know is that he's really passionate about chess, and he would do everything. So we feel the energy of him, and we feel the energy of the performance that he created. So, yep, a pretty good show.
Yeah. All I'll say is that you're correct that this will appear later on my list.
Yep. Yep. All right.
And I'll go on to
Let's
my
get
number
to number
seven.
six.
I'm gonna kind of blow through it a little bit because we
Is that
talked about it
six or seven?
recently. I'm sorry,
Is that six or seven?
six because we flopped.
Yep.
I'm ahead. I'm the
Yep.
first
Yep.
one to get to a new number now as we go
Yep.
down.
Yep. Yep.
My number six is The Boy and the Heron.
Right.
When I first watched this film, I thought it was kind of lower tier Miyazaki. I might have placed it
Hmm.
somewhere in line with, damn, why can't I remember the name of his film from 2004, dude?
How how movie schedule?
Yes, Howl's Moving Castle. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of thought it was like I don't particularly like Howl's, although I'm sure I'm due for a rewatch.
Yep.
And I thought Boy in the Heron was probably on the lower end of the spectrum, but I've watched it
Hmm.
twice now, once in theaters, once for our podcast, and the
Hmm.
second time I liked it. I liked it more, not a lot more,
Hmm.
but in the time since then, I've just my esteem for it has gone up a little bit. It's a really fun film to think about, not
Fun.
only after
Right.
you've seen it, but while you watch it. It's a film you can like study and try to
Right.
get in Miyazaki's head as you think about. I mean, it's probably for that reason it's probably a film that benefits just from the name of its director, not even necessarily his involvement in the work, but just his name makes you think about like what if this is his final film? The gravity of that contributes to the film. And I think base there's probably some commentary from Miyazaki on his own legacy in the film that you can try to
Hmm.
tease out as you watch, which is fun for me. Um, and of course, it's an incredible looking movie. Um,
Hmm.
the if this is truly Miyazaki's final film, then it's there may never be a gathering of animators like this again. Um, that's not to say that there won't be works made with tons of really talented people on them, but Miyazaki's school of animation is owes a lot to the realist style. Um,
Hmm.
it in that way, it's even though the Ghibli style is what a lot of people think of when they think of anime, there are a lot of things about it that are not very anime-like because it depicts things in such volume. It feels a little bit three-dimensional. His way of drawing and of storyboarding. So it's just a fun little puzzle of a film that has big implications for um, the legacy of one of its greatest directors, um, and I appreciate that about it, I guess.
Hmm. All right. Now to my number six, and I just want to say that I think I got like three title out of your top five, so I'd be interested to see what the other twos are.
What do you mean? You mean that
I can guess.
some of the movies that I've mentioned already you thought would be in my top five?
No, no, no. So I mean that now you have the first half of your list, and I think I can figure out three of them.
Oh, I see. Three
So
of the
I
remaining five.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All
So I
right.
would be interested to see another two. All right. Or even if my three are corrected. So
Right.
that's all right. My number six is the one that you already mentioned, Ongaku.
Okay.
I would just say after watching the film, it's just indie rules. It just this is the show that took 7 years to produce, and it's a rotoscope animation with over 40,000 hand draw frames. And they make it just like they have also really have the indie feel of the show as well. Like you said, it just a very obscure, um very um how say dry, funny, but it
Deadpan.
just depend. That's the word I'm looking for. So it just linger on the characters until it build up into something like unexpected punchline. Uh, during the the performances, it just rock. It just like get everything out of it. The style change. It just I think it's just to emphasize the power of the music. So they have like very charming and eccentric characters, and like you said, the story isn't really much. It's just about I want to break free kind of spirit.
Hmm.
But like it just gives you a smile on your face after it finishes. So you know, it's a really good movie to just hang out and enjoy.
Interesting. I wouldn't have expected this from you on your top 10.
Ongaku, no, I love indie movies. So
Okay, nice. All right, well
yeah,
that's one match that we have so far. Two, I guess, with Ongaku and the Deer King.
The D King. Yep.
Perhaps there will be more to come, including my number
Right.
5 movie,
All right. Let's
which
see.
is Look Back.
All right.
So I have no notes on this movie. I've been scrolling down my Word doc as usual, and when we covered this for the podcast a little while ago, I watched it immediately. Like I finished watching it, and then we hopped into the recording right
Right.
away. So I didn't write anything down.
Right.
This
Right.
time I did not fix that problem, so I still have no notes. So I went to Wikipedia to check out the plot synopsis because I'm very forgetful. Of course, I remembered the broad strokes, but I wanted to brush up a little bit. And in the
Yep.
final paragraph of the plot synopsis on Wikipedia, it it says it brings up the moment where Fujino hears her dead friend's voice saying, "Why do you draw?"
Okay.
Because
Yep.
Fujino, Kyo is gone, she's died, and Fujino, despite her success as a mangaka, feels empty because her friend isn't here anymore. So she feels like she hates drawing. But then she hears her voice at the end after we've experienced this alternate reality that the film engineers by sending like little yonkoma comics, little 4-panel comics underneath that door into Kyo's room. Um, Fujino hears her voice. Why do you draw? And I was just from reading that little line in the plot synopsis, I was suddenly all of a sudden like overtaken by emotion, and I think that's what this
Mm.
film really offers is you know the forming of a partnership between two people who share a common goal. When that's broken,
Yep.
the hole that it leaves is it sometimes it feels like it can never be filled. But this film
Mhm.
offers a glimpse of a possibility, another reality, where the loss of that person is prevented before coming back to the real world, to your world,
Mm.
and even if that's not enough to like to replace that person or to fill the hole that they left in your heart, um, it's still like there's something valuable in that experience. So I think that Look Back's like trip, it's not time travel, but it travels into another reality. The way that it does that by using the Yonkoma comics as the vessel for it, um,
Mhm.
and the commentary I think that's offered by the Yonkoma comic being the vessel is that art is so powerful because it outlasts the people who create it. Even after Kyo is
Mm.
dead, her her little comic that she drew and the comics that Fujino drew that made their way under her bedroom door were the power of that art like bridges the gap between the living and the dead. And I think Look Back, that's what's at the core of the film. And even though I have no notes on it, it's so clear to me that that's what the movie is about because of the impact that it had on me. So for
Mm.
that reason, even though there are many things I don't remember about it, I have it at number 5.
All right. Yeah. Good luck from you, even with no note. Well done. All right. My number five is another show that you also just mentioned is The Boy and the Heron.
Okay, we both have Miyazaki on here.
Yeah. Um, I also think because when you just mentioned that it is, like you think of the show as like a Miyazaki 2004 movies. This immediately pop up to my mind as well. So I consider that it's a bit, like messy in the sense that it also a bit overstuffed as he trying to put a lot of things all together as as expected on so many of his movie as well, half moving castle included. I just think that the movies that he make it nice and simple is the one of the best. But that not include Princess Mononoke, which is really complex. But anyways, back to the boy and the heron. I do feel that as you mentioned about him, this is might be his last movie, and I could see like some of these moment that really stand out even more than all of the films that I've watched before. So like the very first moment where the boy uh trying to escape the fry, the acid. It's the fry, not the acid. Uh it's from a very brush stroke that kind of like unusual for his style because he normally go for the realistic and
That
it's like impressive.
that scene is animated by Shinya Ohira. He's my favorite
All right.
animator of all time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's explained it. And then we have the scene where the boy tried to hurt himself by hitting the rock into his face. And this is something raw that I haven't really seen Miyazaki try to touch it to that level. So this is just a really welcome change to see he's still doing that, at this age. And then the scene that I really enjoy the most is the scene where when the boy get into the world and see one of the grandma, uh the oldest one, where she doing some of these the things. I don't remember exactly what she does now.
Are you talking about when he meets her younger version?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And she kind of in the middle or something, and she get him to go along with her as well. This scene that really fantastic. This scene that like it's just a scene of wonder. And that's the same feeling that we have when we watch Spirited Away. Like it's just something like completely new, completely amusing. So these three scenes are something that like that mm, that really get me into the films. But the rest of it, especially like the kind of toward the results, it kind of a bit like he kind of pack everything all together. So like I said, it's a bit overstuffed, but
Mm.
yeah, still very solid production from him. The production quality is just top notch.
Yeah.
So it still sit at number five.
Yeah, when all of Japan's veteran animators see the chance to work on Hayao
Yep,
Miyazaki's final movie,
yep,
I'm sure a lot of phone calls were being made.
yep, yep. I agree. All right.
Okay, number four then.
Yeah.
My number four is Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop.
Hmm. All right.
It's a film that really took me by surprise when I first watched it. And when I rewatched it just recently, I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, because it's kind of like a teen movie, It's
Yeah.
maybe a little bit lightweight in comparison to some of the
Yeah.
more dramatic offerings from this half decade. But I really enjoyed it. The bright colors, the shopping mall where a lot of the film takes place, they're very kind of aggressive with that setting and those colors within it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think pretty quickly you get settled into it, and the film achieves its own visual identity as a result.
Yep.
Um, I like the focus on technology uh, the characters often have their phones in their hands, and that in the real world I don't like so much, but in this world where it's a way for the two main characters to communicate, despite reservations that they have about their appearances or their personalities. Uh, Smile wants to keep her teeth hidden with her mask, and Cherry
Mm,
is pretty shy, pretty withdrawn. Technology helps them to get acquainted with one another and to communicate and to reach out to the world in their individual ways. And it's displayed as like a powerful tool for good, which is
mm,
optimistic, and I like that about it. There's really good use of montage midway through the movie to strengthen Cherry and Smile's relationship, and of course the ending where he runs to the event that's happening. I guess the festival that's happening at the mall, and he proclaims his love for her is just so cute.
yeah.
It's of course it's like a rom com type moment. He's running to confess his love to the girl that he's into. But the way that he does it by incorporating his passion for poetry, and the way that she brings her mask down in the film's final shot to smile and show her buck teeth and her braces, which she's been
Mm,
hiding for the entire movie, is very moving, I think.
mm,
And it left an impact on me once again during my rewatch. So I have it here at number 4.
yeah. It's a really good choice. Like I really enjoy Soda Pops.
Hmm.
I did have it in my short list as well. So yep, well done. I didn't really kind of expect you to pick that.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of a lightweight movie, but I like those. Doesn't all have to be
Yep,
heavy.
yep. All right, my number four is the film that I expect you not putting that on your list, and it's one of the films that we talked in our podcast before, The
Okay.
Girl from the Other Side.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So before the movies, there is a shot like in 2019. That doesn't really have any dialogue, but it's very stunning visually.
Hmm.
And the same team returned for this project and developed it into the movie. And again, the visual is very stunning. I really love that. Uh, Although the movie does not go towards as much as storybook appearance as the short film did, it still managed to portray the landscape effortlessly, and the journey between the two main characters, Sensei and Shiva, uh, as they develop their father-daughter life relationship, is also very heartwarming and bittersweet. Uh, it's in the show that this is a film that I really like want to see more of, and uh, the staff behind it I is someone that look forward to for their future projects.
Hmm. What's the staff behind it? Is it what is the name of
Uh,
it? Is it Totsukuni no Shoujo, or what?
the
What's the?
name of
I guess I'll just type
up
the
up
girl from the other
uh,
side. NEDB.
Tosu Tosukuni no Shoujo. So
Okay.
that's the name of the film. Uh,
I'm looking at the
the
directors now. Yutaro Kubo.
Yutaro Kubo and Satumi Maya.
Yeah. So what have they done?
I think they just done this shot. I think, but it's
Crazy
underweight.
Hornet. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yutaro Kubo has very few, and he did an episode of Pui Pui Molcar Driving School,
All right.
and Satomi Maya.
Right.
Huh.
See more like a key animation.
She is credited as co-director. Um, her it's so strange. Both her resume and the other guy, Yutaro Kubo, are almost
Yep.
identical. So they must
All
be
right.
like a duo, like a creative duo. like the
Right.
Coen brothers.
Hmm.
Huh.
It's said that the Coen brothers now doing their solo directing now.
Yeah, I saw that. One of them did like a black and white Shakespeare adaptation or something on his own, right?
Right. Yeah. The tragedy of Macbeth.
Yeah. This is cool. Yeah, I never so this is a film I didn't really connect with, and I never
Yeah.
really thought about
How
like
much about it? Yeah.
I never really thought about what the history of the staff might be. But if this is one of their first projects, and that's definitely a reason for optimism about their future.
Yeah.
Assuming their future is even in animation. I don't know.
That's correct. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool. You surprised me with this pick.
Hmm.
It's certainly a very uh, a film that has its own mood and its own style.
Yeah.
Um, so its own identity. Huh. Okay, cool. Um, I guess we'll go on to my number three. So I don't think you'll have guessed this one. Uh,
All right.
Gyoko no Nikuko-chan, or Fortune Favors Lady Nikuko.
All right. Nikuko-chan. I
So
watched this one.
have you seen it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I seen,
Okay.
I seen, I seen it. Yeah,
This is a film by Ayumu Watanabe,
yeah,
and it features mostly the same staff who worked on Children of the Sea. So while Children of the Sea kind of got out of control, it kind of broke down into like chaos
yeah,
towards the end, because it was going for some like cosmic imagery. Gyoko no
yeah,
Nikuko-chan, I think, is the film that fulfills the promise of that creative team. Um, it's based on a novel by Kanako Nishi, and it feels like the feeling that I get from the film is like an animated personal essay or an animated selection of chapters from a memoir. Because it's a
hmm,
coming of age story about a young girl who was taken in by a friend of her mother. And we learn this towards the end of the film, and I think the timing with which the way it times that flashback, that reveal, is really really sharp. Um,
hmm.
and it yeah, I mean that flashback alone is worth the price of entry, I think. But I enjoy pretty much every part of the movie. I think this movie is about acceptance. Um,
Yeah,
whether you're fat like Nikuko, or have terrible taste in men like Nikuko, or you struggle with OCD like the boy who Kikuko befriends, the one who goes to that special school where he makes the model of the seaside town where they live, which is wonderful. Like the model that he makes, the reveal that he considers it like his life's work and it'll never be finished because the town is always changing.
hmm,
Um, whether you're OCD or you act selfishly at school, like Kikuko's friend who pits the two groups of girls against each other, or
hmm.
you hold grudges like Kikuko herself, or even if you're someone who abandons your child, like Kikuko's
Yeah,
mother. Regardless of whether you fall into any of those categories or any other category at all, you matter, and you were supposed to be born. As the proprietor of the meat restaurant where Nikuko works, he visits her Kikuko, her adopted daughter, in the hospital after she wakes up, and that's what he tells her: "You were supposed to be born." Um,
hmm,
and that's very the way that phrase came up in the script was extremely moving to me. In the same way that it was in not Monster, but what was Koreeda's film that came before Monster? The one about like babies who are abandoned at like their dedicated buildings where women who have given birth leave their children if they're not able to care for them. Why can't I remember the name of that movie? You know what I'm talking about?
uh, no, I'm thinking at the moment.
Let me see. Broker.
Yeah,
It's called
broker. Oh, yeah,
Broker.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
Um, the this scene in Broker where the characters all say to one another, "Thank you for being born." It reminded me of
Yep.
that, and I thought the film was, you know, very powerful in its conclusion, in its flashback to showing the friendship between Kikuko's mother and Nikuko. Um, I thought the town where it took place was full of character, kind of similar to Azelkin, a town by the sea with a lot of personality to it. Not the same art style, but a similar resulting effect, I think.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I very swept up by this movie both times that I've seen it, so got it at number three.
Yeah. I just remember like Nikiko when she confessed to girl that she not her daughter, she not her mother, and the girl was like, "Yeah, I know," and she was like, How did you know? How did you know?" Yeah, it's so charming. All
All right,
right,
what do you have for number three? What do you got?
all right. My number three is another one that you mentioned before, Inu-Oh.
Okay.
All right, just to put it simply, Inu-Oh is an unforgettable performance. So you mentioned about it being a rock opera in a historical fiction. So yeah, it's on that. So it have like a charming presentation with unique character design. Uh, that also lead to very naturalistic animation. But I think the standout is just the performance because like throughout the performance it had the power of changing the physical forms of the characters.
Right.
So one of them is become more conventional in body. The the others, I think, change appearance from the monk to like to more of a rock musician.
Yeah.
So and this is like you said also a film about the artistic freedom where like it's it's at a time where you could be punished if you want to play something uh for your own. So it's kind of still having a message and the message is still relevant. So very innovative. The plot can be a bit light, but hey, this is a performance. It's not about the plot at all, and it still has some kind of like message behind. So this is a really quality input from user.
Hmm. And he's coming back.
Yep, he's coming back.
He's got another film in development or in production, I should say.
Right. All right. What
Okay,
is your
Inu-Oh
number
in the
two?
top three. I bet you're glad you finished it.
Yeah, I do. I do.
All right,
All right.
we'll go on to my number two, which is Madogiwa no Totto-chan.
Yep. Totto-chan.
It's a film about education, so right up my alley.
Yep.
Um, Alternative education for kids who don't quite fit in a society that really requires them to. Japan is kind of famous or perhaps infamous for that. The nail that sticks up gets hammered down is a phrase that many people associate with the country. Um, so Toto-chan and Yasuaki-chan, I believe that was the boy's name, the boy with polio,
Yep.
as well as all their other classmates and all the scenes that we see that are set at their class, whether it's taking like self study in their train car classroom or uh, lunch in that big auditorium, I guess cafeteria, I should say,
Yep.
and everything in between is just wonderful. Uh, I'm very inspired by the film as an educator. So that's
Mhm.
probably one reason why it ranks so high for me is because I connect with it personally. Um,
Right.
their fantasy sequences, like the one underwater that Yasuaki-chan has, where he's like swimming with a bunch of different animals and um, people as well, who kind of morph into like animals or fairies. sort of, if I recall correctly, with beautiful choral vocals in the background, and that's the one that sticks out to me. But there are other fantasy sequences too. It's kind of it reminds me of a Takahata film.
Oh,
Which one is it? Only Yesterday,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
also a highly realistic film, but it has its own fantasy sequences too.
Mm, mm,
Um, boy, all my notes here are the notes that I took when we first discussed it, like 6 months ago, or however long ago that was. Maybe a little more than that, less than that.
yeah.
Um, it's a devastating film as well because of
Mm,
what happens to Yasuaki, the way that he dies, and the way that the film is tied to World War II, and what effect that has on Totto-chan's school and on her future and on her family as well, is just enough to crush you. Um, but the message of um, like celebrating differences and being accommodating to those who are not like you, um, is maintained despite those tragedies. So that makes it a film that can leave you happy even after it's kind of broken you down, um, which is a nice range that the I think that the film demonstrates. Uh, yeah, Totto-chan at number two. I considered putting it at my top spot. Now that I
yeah.
haven't, you probably know what my top spot is.
I think
Um,
so. Is it from 2019?
no, it's not.
Nope. Oh
That was
wow,
that
right.
was
Okay.
Ongaku. I already listed Ongaku.
Oh, right. No, I'm not.
Oh,
I
okay,
have no idea what your number one is.
great.
All right. I do think that you know my top two, so I will go ahead with my number two, which is also a movie that you already mentioned, and the one that we did the same postcard with the Totto-chan. I think it's Look Back.
Hmm. Yeah.
So look back. I think everything that you mentioned before applied to me as well. It's a show that have very raw feeling. That that even when you think back about it, you will immediately remember about like their passion for drawing, their the passion to go to do it in the first place, the connection they have with someone's like a meaningful connection, and that being broken, so it's also process of grief as well, which is my favorite all time theme.
Hmm.
And like the ability to just move on, so we have like a lot of scenes where it's just a match cut for them just drawing like through time to different in the same location, but going through from the very beginning to the very end, just keep continue doing what they like. Yeah, so it's very short and very sweet to the point. It just I don't think any wasted moment in this movie. So a very good one, very emotional one. Look back.
True. True.
Yep.
Okay, number one time. I'm surprised that you don't know what this is, since I'll give you a hint.
All
You
right.
you mentioned already that you thought this film would appear further down my list.
Oh, all right. Sorry. Yeah, Blue Jan. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Hey, I mean,
Yep.
we're more of a TV anime podcast, so we can't always keep
Yep.
all the films straight.
Yep. Yep. True.
Plus, there are lots of contenders for the number one spot. I don't know honestly what yours is. I'm sure it will be
Her
obvious
blue
after
sky.
what?
I thought of her blue sky.
No, we already recorded. We already counted Her Blue Sky as 2019
All right. Yep.
when
No.
we did our last decade thing. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I do love Her Blue Sky. Don't
All
really have
right.
time to talk about it though, because this podcast is running long. Might split
Yep.
it up
Yep.
into
Yep.
two
Let's
parts,
go ahead.
honestly. A TV half and a film half. We'll see.
All right.
Blue Giant is my number one. Just to make it short and sweet, it's a film about jazz and about three men on a journey to become the greatest Japanese jazz band in the country. And based on the performance scenes, I'd say they succeeded because they're amazing. They are like reality warping. They are passionate, and I wish they never ended. They're all
Yeah.
great. I love each of the three main characters. This is a pretty straightforward film. It's about trying to be the best at something, and you using your passion for that for that art form as fuel to reach your goal. And I love all
Mhm.
three of the main characters, whether they're the future star of the Japanese jazz world, whether they're a prodigy who is kind of brought back to reality after a series of failures, or whether they're
Mm.
a new drummer who has to pick up the instrument
Yeah.
from scratch and is desperately trying to keep up with his two more talented bandmates. I think that each
Mm.
of them has a incredible journey that they go through in this film. The music is great,
Yeah.
and the visual presentation very ballsy. Uh,
Mm.
my favorite film of the past 5 years, at least
All right.
my favorite anime
Yeah.
film of the past 5 years.
Yeah. 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 All right. I think you can guess my number one.
I actually
It's
can't. I was
Tatami
trying
Tam.
to earlier, and I don't know what it
Yep.
is. Once you say it, I bet I'll be kicking myself.
All right. It's Tatami Time Machine Blues.
Oh, duh. I was still thinking of that as a TV series or a series. But yes. All
Yeah,
right.
of course, you're right. Tatami Galaxy is my all-time favorite, one of my all-time favorites. So a follow on that, and plus the time machine element is just like something, just a cream on the crop. It just everything. I love the characters. I love the snappy dialogues, and I love the even like the smart implication of like the time machine, and everyone just working together on this. And I just watch it, like all of the episodes all at once. So I still consider it's like one big movie. Even like I don't really consider the last episode to be completely legit into this whole experience. But well, it's just me. And yeah, Tatami Time Machine Blue is all that I ask for in this world. In that world, in like they also have the magical realism that I really love. So everything from love, it's just like a 90 minute of like perfectly you know uh plot that like about all the characters that we are familiar, and I also feel as friends now. We see many versions of them already. It feel like we know them all along. So you know it just something that completely very close to my heart. And all right, because we're running out of time, I just gonna make it short and sweet here. Just give yourself time and watch Tatami Machine Blue if you haven't already. And even though if you haven't watched the Tatami Galaxy, go give a watch. It's still worth it.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the Tatami Time Machine Blues. So I've got it I would say it did pretty well for itself here in this podcast because I've got it as my number two
Right.
series. You have it as your number one film. So perhaps the anime of the
Yep.
decade so far for Double Crossed Anime.
I do agree with you on that. Yep. Yep.
How
Alrighty.
many films did we have in common? Let's see. Not
One, two,
counting
three,
Tatami
four,
Time Machine
five,
Blues, I guess. We have Look Back, Inu-Oh, The Boy and the
six.
Heron, Ongaku, Blue Giant, The Deer King. So it's six, is that right?
Six. Yeah.
Okay. You know,
I do think that we have a lot less option for movies, but there's still a whole lot of others out there.
yeah, that's true. Um, there are a lot more to come in the next 5 years, and
That's true as well.
there are probably a handful of great films from the past 5 years that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. One of them that I haven't watched, I think you mentioned me that you watch it already, and I didn't really have time to watch it. Is the review Starlight movie because I really
Mm.
want. I'm keen to watch it.
Yeah, it's that is definitely a trip. The Review Starlight movie is something else. I
Wow,
wasn't
that's
I
a good
wasn't
thing.
huge on it, but I
All
would
right,
say it's definitely a film that should be watched.
all right.
It's challenging.
Hmm. All right.
um,
Very
yeah,
interesting.
there's the Review Starlight movie. There's a bunch of others. Kimi no Ito. I honestly, the performance scenes at the end were so much better in my opinion than the rest of the film. I couldn't
Right.
justify a top 10 spot for it in my mind. But
Yeah.
of course, it's a gorgeous movie, great music. Um,
Fair enough.
Yamada is, she's got her style down to a science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and man, what were there any other anime movies that were like in contention for my top 10 spot?
Goodbye, Don't Please.
No, that I mean, I enjoyed that movie well enough, but it wasn't up there for me. Um,
All right.
you know what movie I could have made the top 10 and maybe kicked the Deer King out, but I didn't rewatch it. The Made in Abyss movie, Dawn of the Deep Soul.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember liking
Yeah.
that one a lot, but that's a brutal watch. I didn't
Mm.
really
Yeah.
I guess I didn't feel like subjecting myself to it.
Yeah.
Um, but that might
And
be
the
top 10 material.
any chance for the Opito children to cross your
No.
top 10?
I,
All
d-
right.
I wasn't really I didn't really like the Orbital Children very much, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure I'll ever
Okay.
rewatch it. Maybe someday.
Yeah. Right. Fair enough. All right. And that's it for our work for the last 5 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Pretty much sum it up.
Yeah. And so we have about 4 years to go until we kind of start this process over again. Because in
Right. Yeah.
2019, we kind of spent about half of that year doing like multiple passes at our top
Yeah.
50 lists.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so perhaps we'll do something similar if we make it to 2029.
Yeah.
I think we
And the
I think we
list,
can get there.
yeah, and the list and the order might have changed as well, which is I think a good thing.
Oh
It
yeah,
need to be keep
none of what
updating.
we just watched, or none of what we just mentioned or ranked is set in stone by any means.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot more anime to come.
That's correct. All right. Thank you guys for like spending the last 150 minutes
Yep.
listen to what we say about anime for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So if you haven't checked out any of these shows or movies that we mentioned, just we go ahead and check it out. They are all worth like spending the time with.
Yep. Coming up, we have the final episode of the Anne of Green Gables podcast. After that, we're going to transition
Hmm.
into the Kemono no Soja Aaron rewatch or watch
Yeah,
for the two of us. And
yeah,
we've also got our spring 2025 final thoughts on shows like Lazarus and Kowloon Generic Romance. And we haven't
yeah.
settled on the three just yet, but I
I
think
love
those.
what you put there. So we can settle for Apocalypse Hotel if you want.
Oh, you saw the change that I made?
Yep.
I was disappointed with the last two G Quacks episodes. That's why I changed it. But maybe I'll change
All
it
right, up
back. I
to
don't
you.
know.
Up to
Well,
you.
I
I
guess
watch
you won't know either. Those of you listening at home until you tune in next month.
Yep, 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 yep. So good. All right. Bye for now, guys.
Adios.
Enjoy.